In the small village of Umoja, the land was red and soft, always warm beneath bare feet. Palm trees leaned toward one another like old friends sharing secrets, and mud houses stood quietly with rusted zinc roofs that sang loudly whenever rain fell. Every morning, smoke rose gently from cooking fires, carrying the smell of roasted yam and palm oil into the air. This village knew everyone. And everyone knew Kola. Kola was the boy people laughed at. He walked with his shoulders slightly bent, as if the weight of the world had been placed on him before he was ready. His clothes were always too big, old shirts donated by people who no longer wanted them, sleeves hanging past his hands, faded trousers held up by a rope instead of a belt. His slippers were mismatched, one brown, one black, both cracked at the sole. His face was calm, but his eyes always looked far away, as though he was seeing something others could not see. Children mocked him openly. "Mad boy," they shouted as they ran past him. "Skywatcher," others laughed, because Kola often stopped in the middle of the road to stare upward. Even some adults shook their heads when he passed. "That boy will never be anything," they whispered. "He talks to himself. He wastes his time watching clouds." Only his mother, Mama Sod, never laughed. Her back was bent from years of farm work, and her hands were rough like tree bark, but her eyes softened whenever she looked at her son. She sold vegetables at the market, sitting on a low wooden stool from morning till evening. When she counted her small earnings, she always saved a little to buy Kola food. At night, in their one-room mud house, she watched him carefully. Kola would lie on the floor mat, eyes wide open, listening. Not to voices, but to the sky. Sometimes he whispered words she could not understand. Sometimes tears rolled silently down his cheeks. And sometimes, just before sleep, he smiled, slowly, mysteriously, like someone who knew a secret. "Why do you look at the sky so much?" she once asked him softly. Kola turned his face toward her. His eyes reflected the oil lamp's weak light. "Because it is changing," he said. Mama Sod frowned. "The sky has always been there." He shook his head. "Not like this." She said nothing more. In Umoja, life followed the same rhythm every day. Morning farming. Afternoon heat. Evening gossip. Night drums from far villages carried by the wind. Until strange things began to happen. Birds started flying in circles at sunset, crying loudly as if confused. Dogs howled at nothing, staring into empty space. The moon began rising earlier than usual, glowing brighter, its color slightly off, too pale, almost silver blue. The elders noticed. They gathered under the ancient Iroko tree, their walking sticks resting against their knees, their faces serious. "This land is restless," old Baba Noi said, his voice low. "The spirits are uneasy," another replied. They poured libation and prayed. Still, no one listened to Kola. One evening, as the sky darkened into deep purple, Kola stood in the open field outside the village. Wind lifted dust around his feet. His oversized shirt flapped like a weak flag. Sweat ran down his face, but he did not wipe it away. Children gathered at a distance, laughing. "Look at him again. He thinks he owns the sky." A boy threw a stone near his feet. Kola did not move. He was listening. His breathing slowed. His chest tightened. His heart beat faster, not with fear, but with knowing. Something was close. That night, the air felt heavy. Even the crickets were silent. People slept early, uneasy without knowing why. The moon hid behind thick clouds. Then it happened. A sound rolled across the sky, not thunder, not wind, but something deep, ancient, and alive. People rushed out of their houses. And the sky changed color. Not slowly. Instantly. Deep blue melted into burning red. Red shifted into glowing purple. Then green streaks ran across the heavens like flowing rivers of light. The clouds shone from within, moving as if pushed by invisible hands. Women screamed. Men fell to their knees. Children clutched their mothers. The entire village stood frozen, faces lifted upward, eyes wide with fear and wonder. "This is not natural," someone cried. The elders trembled. Then they saw him. Kola stood alone in the open field, arms spread wide, face lifted to the glowing sky. His eyes reflected every color, shining like mirrors. His clothes whipped violently in the wind, yet his feet were planted firmly on the ground. For the first time in their lives, no one laughed. The sky answered him. Light poured downward, not fire, not lightning, but a soft, pulsing glow that surrounded his body. Dust lifted from the ground, spinning gently around him. Mama Sword ran forward, tears streaming down her face. "Kola," she cried. He turned slowly. His face was peaceful. Strong. No longer the face of a mocked boy, but of someone standing exactly where he was meant to be. "The sky has chosen," he said, his voice calm but carrying across the field. "It has been calling, and I have been listening." The wind stopped. The colors faded. The sky returned to normal. Silence fell over Umoja. No one spoke. No one laughed. From that night on, people no longer called him mad. They called him the one who had the sky. And the village of Umoja would never be the same again. Because the night the sky changed color, a boy they mocked became the voice they would forever listen to.